I used to believe attention meant love. If a man wanted me, I told myself I mattered. It's embarrassing to admit that in my 30s I still thought like a teenager, but that's the truth. I was married to a good man named Aaron, steady as sunrise. He cooked on Sundays, ironed his shirts the night before, and never forgot to ask if I had eaten. He held me when anxiety landed like a storm. He listened without trying to fix me. I said I wanted that kind of safety, and for a while I did. Then the quiet started to feel like silence, and I went looking for noise. The noise showed up at a vendor event. His name was Matt. He had the kind of smile that makes people lean closer. He asked about my perfume like he was filing away an answer for later. We swapped numbers for work coordination, and I knew it wasn't about work by the time his first late text came through. I told myself it was flirty fun. The coffee near my office turned into a drink, the drink into a kiss behind a garage pillar, and the kiss into a rule I pretended I didn't write. I would go where he wanted, when he wanted, and I would not call it cheating. At home I became an actress. I learned how to scrub off his cologne and come back smelling like the lemon lotion on our sink. I learned how to turn my phone face down in a way that looked like habit, not hiding. The first time Aaron asked if something was wrong, I cried and said work was killing me. He rubbed my back and offered to pack my lunches so I wouldn't forget to eat. I should have confessed. Instead, I let him hold me while I typed replies to Matt with one hand under the blanket. I told myself I could have both, the husband who loved me and the thrill that made me feel lit up. Matt figured me out fast. If he texted come over, I went. If he wanted pictures, I sent them. If he wanted me gone before sunrise, I left. He didn't ask about my day or my dreams or even my birthday. He didn't need to. I gave him access without asking for anything back. He called it keeping things simple. I called it freedom. It wasn't freedom. It was a leash I kept clipping to my own neck. He never met me for brunch. He never walked me to my car. He never learned my favorite song. He didn't have to. I was always the one reaching. Friends started to notice I was thinner and jumpier. I said I was doing a detox. My sister asked why I no longer posted pictures with Aaron. I said we were being private. The lies stacked up until they felt like furniture. Meanwhile, Aaron kept doing the small things that make a life. He replaced my wiper blades before the first snow. He bought tickets to a cheap comedy show because he remembered a joke I loved. He asked about a long weekend at the lake, and I said I was swamped. The truth was I didn't want to be far from my phone. Matt started pushing for risk. Lunch hour visits. Messages from the couch with Aaron 3 feet away. Quick rideshares across town for 15-minute meetings that left me shaking. Every time I said yes, something in me got smaller. The more I tried to keep both worlds, the worse I was at both. I snapped at Aaron for normal questions and treated him like the interruption, not the reason I had a home. He asked if we should try counseling. I said counseling was for couples who had problems. He said, so we have problems, and I rolled my eyes like I was above the truth. The night it broke started like any other bad choice. Matt texted need you. I came. He opened the door, barely looked up, and kept typing. After, when I tried to talk, he rolled onto his stomach and said he had an early morning. I asked when we could act like normal people, maybe dinner somewhere with lights. He laughed and said, don't make this heavy. I joked that he wasn't making it anything. He shrugged. I put on my shoes and stood in his doorway waiting for a word that never came. He closed the door with a soft click and I stood in the hallway feeling small. Aaron was waiting at the kitchen table with a mug of tea and a folder. He didn't shout. He didn't throw anything. He slid the folder across the wood and watched my face like he was bracing for a wave. Inside were screenshots and photos and a copy of an invoice from a private investigator. There I was, grainy and obvious, walking into Matt's building at midnight and leaving hours later with my hair up when it had been down. There were ride receipts and timestamps. One photo caught me smiling at my phone in a lobby like the worst version of myself. I couldn't talk. He had already moved money, already packed a bag. He was calm the way people are when they hurt and know they deserve better. I'm not going to argue, he said. You can keep the apartment. I just want my dignity back. He took his keys off the hook and left the spare. You'll need it, he said, and somehow that kindness hurt worse than rage. He set the mug in the sink, picked up his bag, and stood there one last second like he was trying to memorize the room. He kissed the dog and told her to be good. Then he left. He didn't slam the door. He didn't look back. Matt ignored me for 2 days. When he finally answered, his message said, "This is getting complicated." I asked if we could talk. He replied, "Not a good idea." Then he muted me. The man who could summon me with 2 words didn't have 5 to spare. I sat in the apartment Aaron paid for and stared at a blank TV. No one told me what to do next. No one owed me a plan. The dog whined at the door for the person who wasn't coming home. I walked her at midnight because I couldn't sleep and didn't want anyone to see my face. The fallout came in waves. Mutual friends went quiet. The ones who stayed neutral drifted toward Aaron's side because neutrality always picks the solid ground. My sister said she loved me but she understood. My mother tried to make it about childhood because naming a cause makes people feel safer. Work got worse. Matt's company was a big account. When he stopped taking calls, the orders stalled. My boss asked if everything was okay, and 2 weeks later we lost the contract to a competitor. I pretended it was normal. I pretended a lot. Pretending didn't turn into truth. It just made me lonely. I tried dating because I missed being wanted. I made a profile that forgot to mention the marriage and the mess. Drinks with strangers were the opposite of comfort. One guy recognized me from a friend's party and asked, halfway through a cocktail, "Weren't you married?" I said, "Not anymore," and he nodded like that explained everything. Another man joked about no drama and winked like that counted as charm. A third asked my body count before the chips arrived. I went home and deleted the app and sat on my kitchen floor, holding the leash that had nowhere to go. Aaron filed the papers. Everything after that was practical and cold. We split the furniture, and I watched strangers carry out the table he had built by hand. He never sent a midnight paragraph to hurt me back. He didn't need to. His dignity did the talking. When the divorce finalized, he mailed a small box with things he said were mine by history: a dried flower from our first date, a Polaroid from a street fair, a receipt from the diner where we decided to look for an apartment. There was also a note that said, "Please take care of yourself." I cried over paper. Months went by. Matt got engaged to someone new, a woman with bright eyes and a caption full of hearts. I saw it because a mutual friend posted the photo, then I blocked him the way I should have years earlier. I started therapy because I was out of excuses. When I told the story, my therapist didn't flinch. She asked why I thought access meant affection and why I accepted being a secret when I had a husband who held my face like something worth keeping. I said I wanted to feel chosen. She asked why I chose the person who chose me the least. Sometimes I still see Aaron on the street walking the dog we adopted together. He looks well. Lighter. Once he stopped and we talked for a minute. I said I was sorry again, because it is the sentence I owe him forever. He nodded and said, "I hope you find what you keep looking for." It wasn't cruel. It was a hope wrapped in a boundary. He scratched the dog's ear and kept moving. I stood there with my hands empty and felt the old urge to run after attention. I didn't. I went home and made tea and tried to sit inside a quiet I used to fear. If you're waiting for a neat ending, I don't have one. My apartment is bare and the plants keep dying. Dating feels like an interview: I fail by being honest or fail by pretending. Time did not fix me. It only gave me room for the work. The work is simple to name and hard to do. Stop confusing a ping with love, stop answering to people who only text at midnight, stop spending what someone good saved for me. Aaron built a peaceful life and I broke it. He left with quiet and grace, and people respect him more than ever. That's fair. Here's what I know now. I mattered most when I stood in a kitchen with a good man who loved me enough to fix everything but the one thing I kept breaking. I am not asking for sympathy. I am writing this because I want to remember the cost the next time my phone lights up at midnight. Attention is cheap. Respect is rare. Love is steady and sometimes quiet. If someone reading this needs a warning, let me be it. Don't trade a home for a thrill. Don't trade daylight for a secret. Don't trade a person who shows up for someone who never will. Ever.